What's up, guys, and welcome back to part 2 of our playthrough of Dracula Curse of the Vampire by Jonathan Green, the Choose Your Own Adventure game book. So it pretty much follows the story of Bram Stoker's Dracula. There's 4 different characters to play as, and we are currently playing as Jonathan Harker. And I believe where we got up to, we ended up in a mausoleum where we found a vampire lady. I don't think we killed her. We had a good fight with her, and we passed out. Ended up in a town with all these Romanian dudes. They healed us up and sent us on our way. So I guess we are heading to Dracula's castle now. So I guess we better just get straight into it then.
Yes. So we're starting on a nice artwork page.
Yep.
As the coach continues to fly along, the driver leans forward in his seat while the passengers on each side crane their heads, peering eagerly into the darkness. At last, the pass opens on the eastern side. Dark clouds roll overhead and the air becomes heavy with the expectation of thunder. You peer out into the darkness as well, searching for any sign of the conveyance that is to carry you to the Count, expecting to see the glare of lamps through the blackness at any moment, but all remains dark. And then the driver brings the carriage to an abrupt stop, and you can make out a sandy spur road lying white before you, but there is no sign of any other vehicle. Your fellow passengers draw back into their seats, sighing as if with relief. It would appear that the conveyance you were expecting to meet you here in the Borgo Pass to take you onto Castle Dracula has not turned up. The driver looks at his watch, muttering, "An hour less than the time," and then turning to you says in German that it is worse than yours. That is worse than yours. There is no carriage here. The heir is not expected after all. He will now come on to Bukovina and return tomorrow or the next day. But whilst he is speaking, the horses begin to neigh and snort wildly, pawing at the ground with their hooves. Accompanied by a chorus of screams from the other passengers, a calèche, pulled by a team of four coal-black horses, appears as if from nowhere out of the night and draws up alongside the coach. It is driven by a tall man with a long brown beard and wearing a grey-black hat, which hides his face from you.
It's like Gawain from...
Yeah.
Well, Gascoigne, isn't it? Father Gascoigne.
Although his deep-set eyes appear to gleam red in the lamplight. "You're early tonight, my friend," he says to the coachman. "The English heir was in a hurry," the wretch stammers in reply. "That's why I suppose you wished him to go on to Bukovina," says the bearded stranger. The driver blanches but says nothing. "You cannot deceive me, my friend. I know too much, and my horses are swift." He smiles, and the lamplight reveals a hard-looking mouth with full red lips and sharp-looking teeth, as white as ivory. "You half hear one of your companions whisper to another peasant, 'Den die Toten reiten schnell,' for the dead travel fast." "Give me the heir's luggage," says the stranger, and with startling alacrity, your bags are put into the calèche. As soon as you are on board as well, the bearded man shakes his reins. The splendid coal-black horses turn, and you are swept away into the darkness of the pass. You cannot help but look back, where you see your late companions crossing themselves before the coach driver cracks his whips. Calling to his horses, they are swept on their way to Bukovina. You feel a strange chill, and inexplicable feeling of loneliness comes over you. A cloak is suddenly thrown over your shoulders, a rug is laid across your knees, and the driver says in excellent German, "The night is chill, mynheer, and my master the Count bade me to take care of you. There is a flask of Slivovitz underneath the seat if you should require it." What's that?
Vodka, probably.
Putting a hand under the seat, you find the flask and take it out. Opening it, you sniff the vapours that rise from within. The smell reminds you of plum brandy. Ew. If you want to take a swig, turn to 139. If you prefer to put the flask back where you found it, turn to 168. Do you reckon it's drugged?
Well, Dracula can kind of like seduce us with his powers anyway, so I don't think he needs us to be drunk. But then again, after watching the movie last night, he did give Mina absinthe and kind of dropped it in, so potentially, but at the same time, it could also drop off terror level down because we're more relaxed.
Yeah, I think we should take a swig.
It's worth trying, isn't it, for the first time anyway?
139. I'll make a note.
Yeah.
Turning up at one's employer already tipsy sounds like a good idea.
We started watching the '92 Bram Stoker's Dracula movie.
We're about halfway through it.
Yeah, we've got about maybe 30-40 minutes left. The flask does indeed contain plum brandy, which warms you from the inside and helps you ease your anxieties, gain 3 endurance points.
Cheers to that.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it works. The flask contains 4 further measures, and each measure will restore 3 endurance points. However, if you drink more than 1 measure in one go, you must reduce your combat score for one point for every measure over the initial one that you drink until after your next battle. You may also deduct 1 point from your terror score. Yeah, I told you.
Okay, so brandy. We've got 4 times 3
left.
Yeah.
So terror is going down to 7.
Do you take a terror off every time or just once?
No, just this once, I think. Well, unless it tells us. Hello, good friend. How are you doing? Name a word, please. You never told us you were a successful Pokeball artist.
What do you mean I never told you? Hey, Tomcat!
Hey, Tomcat, how you doing? Isn't that like what
I've
you were
been
doing?
making, yeah, so I think like my last streams were making Pokebuds.
Yeah.
About, like years ago, 2 years ago probably. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, Tomcat.
Whilst permanently reducing your terror score by 1, if you empty the bottle in one go, you still only reduce your score by 1, terror score by 1. If you want to keep the flask of Brum brandy with you, record it on your adventure sheet. So turn to 303. And I'll put that on our adventure sheet.
303.
So let's turn inventory on. And we now have plum brandy, what is it, 3 servings left?
Yes. I've made a note that... No, 4 servings and each serving gets us 3.
Did we not just use one?
No, it said we had a further 4 serving. Yeah, still doing them. Not got any better. I'm still making them. A flask of brummy.
Yeah.
Soon you are hemmed in by trees which in places arch right over the roadway, so it is as if you are passing through a tunnel. Great frowning rocks guard the track on either side. The rising wind moans and whistles through the rocks, and the branches of the trees crash together as you speed along. It grows colder still, and fine powdery snow begins to fall. Soon the calèche and driver, the horses, and you are covered with a white blanket. The baying of wolves cuts through the keening wind and sounds so close you wonder if the animals are closing in on you from every side. Suddenly, away to your left, you see an inconsistent light, like a flickering blue flame. The driver has clearly seen it too, for he brings the calèche to an abrupt halt, and without a word of explanation, jumps to the ground, disappearing into the darkness.
This is definitely that shot from Nosferatu.
Left us. You're left alone while the howling of the wolves draws closer. Do you also want to disembark and set off after the driver? Or will you remain where you are and hope that the gypsy returns soon?
Remain where we are? We ain't going back, are we?
What if we have to help him fight the wolves? No, let's wait.
We've been abandoned.
We wouldn't do that. He would have told us. Maybe he's gone for a poo in the woods.
Maybe. You could have done it where he was instead of driving off.
Why? In front of us?
Yeah.
The man's got to go. He's got to go. He's going to run into the woods and do it.
Remain and see if the gypsy returns soon. 363. As abruptly as he vanished, the man suddenly reappears and takes his seat again, without a word, and you resume your journey.
It's just a piss.
Yeah, quick one. You can't help feeling possessed of an uncanny sense of looming dread, and the time seems interminable as you continue on your way, now in almost complete darkness, for the rolling clouds obscure the moon. You sense that you are ascending, punctuated with periods of quick descent until you become conscious of the fact that the driver is in the act of pulling the horses into the courtyard of a vast ruined castle, from whose tall black windows comes no ray of light, and whose broken battlements show a jagged line against the sky. In the gloom, the courtyard appears to be of considerable size, and several dark ways lead from it underneath the great round arches. The calèche comes to a halt, and the gypsy driver jumps down, holding out his hand to assist you to alight. You cannot help but notice that his prodigious strength. His hand is like a steel vice that could crush yours if he so wished. He takes your personal belongings from the carriage and places them on the ground beside you. You are standing in front of a great door, clearly ancient and studded with large blunt-headed iron nails, set within a projecting doorway of carved stone, although the carvings have been much worn by time and the weather. As you stand there, awestruck, the driver jumps back into his seat and with a shake of the reins sets the horse moving again. Trap, driver, and all disappear into one of the deeply shadowed openings. You can see no sign of a bell or knocker upon the door, so you simply stand there in the courtyard in silence, not knowing what else to do. You doubt your voice could penetrate these frowning walls, even if you were to announce your arrival. And you stand there. As you stand there, you realise that this is the same place Mr. Renfield visited before you, an expedition from which he returned a broken man. You hear a heavy step approaching from behind the great door, and you see through the chinks of the jaundiced gleam of bobbing light. There is a sound of rattling chains and the clanking of massive bolts being drawn back, and the key is turned with a loud grating noise of long disuse. And finally, the great door swings open. Sound like a small door.
Yeah, I was like a little trap.
That opened quite quick, didn't it? Within stands a tall old man, clean shaven save for an extravagant white moustache, and clad in black from head to foot. He holds in his hand an antique silver lamp, the flame burning within, throwing long quivering shadows as it flickers the draught of the open door. He motions you with an antiquated, courtly gesture. "Welcome to my house," he says in an excellent English but with a strange intonation. "Enter freely, go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring." You step over the threshold and the old man moves forward impulsively. Holding out his hand, he grasps yours with a strength that makes you wince. It seems as cold as ice, more like the hand of a dead man than one of the living. "Count Dracula?" you ask. The old man bows in a courtly fashion. "I am Dracula, and I bid you welcome, Mr. Harker, to my house. Come in, the night air is chill, and you must need to eat and rest." Taking your luggage before you can forestall him, he leads you inside the castle. "It is late and my people are not available. Let me see to your comfort myself." Despite your prostrations, he insists on carrying your bags along the echoing passage and then up the great winding stair and along another great landing on whose stone floor your steps ring heavily. At the end of the passageway, the Count throws open a heavy door, and you are delighted to see a well-lit room beyond. Inside, a grand dining table has been set up for supper, while a great fire of logs flames and flare within the hearth. The Count puts down your bags, closes the door, crossing the room, opens another which leads into a small octagonal room lit by a single lamp. Passing through this, he opens yet another door, motioning for you to follow. It is a great bedroom warmed by another log fire which sends a hollow roar up the wide chimney. It is a most welcome sight if you are exhausted after your traumatic journey to the Count's home. The Count leaves your bags inside the room and withdraws, saying, "You will want to refresh yourself after your journey. I trust you will find all you wish. When you are ready, come into the other room where you will find your supper prepared." It is past midnight. If you want to politely decline your host's offer of supper and retire for what remains of the night, turn to 371. If you prefer to have something to eat before retiring, turn to 146. I mean, we might as well go and get some food.
I want to eat.
It's weird playing this because if you know the story of Dracula, it's like do you follow the story or do you try and diverge from it? If I heard the wolves howling already, I wouldn't diss their bark. We need the Dracula. I was considering it, but I don't know.
I don't know how to do that. I can try and
This
do
is
it.
Dracula accent. All we need to do is follow this one.
You must bounce on it.
Crazy style.
Oh, this is him. I've got a
Crazy
picture.
style.
Vladimir Tepesh. It kind of looks like Revolver Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid.
It looks pretty true
Pretty
to
cool art.
what I thought it would look like. The light... so we've gone with the eating, haven't we?
Yep.
The light and warmth of the Count's courteous welcome has
I bring you cheese on toast.
dissipated all your doubts and fears, and you realise you are indeed half famished with hunger. Having made your toilet? Having made your toilet, you make your way into the other room.
I did a toilet.
Supper is, that's so polite, what a polite way. I'm going to start saying that to you. Supper is already laid out. Your host is standing on one side of the great fireplace, leaning against the stonework. With a graceful wave of his hand, he says, I pray you be seated and sup how you please. You will, I trust, excuse me that I do not join you, but I have dined already and I do not drink wine. You hand him the sealed letter that Mr. Hawkins entrusted to you before you left England for Transylvania, informing the Count that you have recently qualified as a solicitor. As he digests the contents of the letter, you fall upon a most excellent roast chicken. This, with some cheese and a salad and a bottle of old Toki, of which you have 2 glasses, is your supper. Restore 3 endurance points.
What was us? 24, was it?
24. When you have finished eating, at your host's behest, you draw up a chair and join him by the fire. He proceeds to ask you many questions about your journey, and you tell him by degrees of all you experienced on the way to Castle Dracula. While you study his striking physiognomy more closely...
Physiognomy?
Physiognomy more closely, his face is aquiline, with a thin nose and peculiarly arched nostrils. He has a lofty domed forehead and he wears his hair long in the fashion of the boyars of the past. The mouth is rather cruel looking, with peculiarly sharp white teeth which protrude over the lips, whose remarkable ruddiness shows astonishing vitality for a man of his years. His ears are pale and extremely pointed. The chin is broad and strong and cheeks firm though thin. The general effect is one of extraordinary pallor.
I'm just checking the portrayal here.
He's got short hair though.
Yeah.
Crazy
Well, this is
style.
it's a bit of a mixture, I guess.
You also notice his hands, where they rest upon his knees. The nails are long and fine, cut to sharp points, and curiously, there are hairs growing at the centre of the palms. A horrible feeling of nausea comes over you, which you are unable to conceal. The Count offers you a grim smile, which shows off his protuberant teeth even more than before. Add 1 point to your terror score. You are both silent for a while, and looking towards the window, you see the first dim streak of the coming dawn.
Picture of Vlad the Impaler over his shoulder. Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, he is, well, I mean, in the film at least, he is basically Vlad the Impaler, isn't he?
From beyond the walls of the castle, you hear the howling of many wolves down in the valley below. One day you're going to get that wrong and you're going to press parry. The Count moves towards the window, his eyes gleaming. Listen to them, the children of the night. What music they make.
Music they make.
Seeing the look of appalled horror on your face, he adds, You must be tired. Your bedroom is all ready, and tomorrow you shall sleep as late as you will. I have to be away till the afternoon, so sleep well and dream well. With another courteous bow, he leaves the room. You're lost in a sea of wonders, your mind awhirl with strange things, which you dare not even confess to yourself. You pray that God keeps you safe, if only for the sake of your dear Mina back in England, so many, many miles away. Ooh, if you wish to continue the story as Mina, turn to 278. If you'd rather prefer to continue the story as Jonathan Harker, turn to 371.
I think we continue as Jonathan Harker, and I think maybe we might even do a playthrough. If it's completely different, maybe we'll do a playthrough as every character.
Yeah. What
At some point.
music they make.
Children of the night.
371.
Now I'm imagining that they have a wolf band in 371. Are we gonna spend like 300 pages in like a monastery healing up in this? Character switching mid-game, that's an unexpected and intriguing feature. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
We don't really know how it works and how the story progresses. Like when you swap characters, I imagine it's, I don't know. I think it's just like part one, and then part two of each character.
I don't know. You'd think it'd be like currently what they're doing at this point in the book, but.
Your sleep is disturbed by visions of skull-faced phantasms, wolves, and women with skin the colour of ivory. but you are unable to rouse yourself from your nightmares, and when you do eventually awake, you realise it is late in the day. Having dressed, you go into the room where supper was laid out the night before to find a cold breakfast waiting for you, with a hot pot of coffee keeping warm underneath the hearth. There is also a card waiting for you on the table. My friend, I have to be absent for a while. Do not wait for me. D. You set to and enjoy a hearty meal, gain 2 endurance points if you dined last night, but gain 3 if you did not.
Oh. We get 2 because we ate.
Okay, yeah.
Or get 3 if you didn't.
When you are done, you look for a bell to let the servants know that you've finished but are unable to find one. There are other odd deficiencies in the house as well, especially when you consider the evidences of wealth that are all around you. The table service is of gold and is so beautifully wrought that it must be of immense value. The curtains and upholstery of the chairs and sofas and the hangings on your bed are the costliest and most extravagant fabrics. They must have been incredible value when they were made.
Incredible value.
B&M. They are clearly centuries old, although they are in excellent order. But you have not seen a servant anywhere or heard anything near the castle except for the howling of wolves. The other strange thing is that in none of the rooms there is a mirror. You had to get the shaving glass from your bag before you could either shave or brush your hair. When you are done with your meal, but whether to call it breakfast or dinner you do not know, for it was between 5 and 6 o'clock when you ate. You look for something to read to help you pass the time, and there is absolutely nothing within the room. Seeing the sun sinking towards the mountains through one of the windows, you determine that the door by which you first came upon your suite of the rooms is in the southern wall. Your bedroom lies through the door in the western wall. Do we need to write this down?
Do we need a map?
Yes. So, you determine that the door you first came upon your suite of rooms is in the southern wall, so we came in first through the southern wall.
Yeah.
Your bedroom lies through the door in the western wall.
Yeah. And
opposite, on the eastern side, is the dining room. There is another door between these two in the north wall. There is a fourth. Ignoring the way back to your bedroom, do you want to try the door to the east, the north, or the south?
So the south is hopefully the door
exit,
out.
yeah.
We don't know what the north
and
door
the east is the dining room again.
Yeah.
Should we go back in the dining room?
Yeah.
And then we can narrow off that and go like onwards. So we're going to go east to the dining room, 401. Right, we're in like Fighting Fantasy territory now, different rooms to go into.
Yeah, boy. Oh, I thought we were on the end page then.
There's loads of those pages.
You try the door in the eastern wall of the chamber opposite your bedroom, but it is firmly locked. There is no way you're going to be able to open it. You're going to have to try another door, but will it be the door to the north or the door to the south? Door to the north, we've not been there yet.
No, let's go north.
4, 3, 1.
The door opens and finding yourself in a library, you set about scouring the shelves. You are delighted, if not slightly surprised, to discover the archive contains a vast number of English books, whole shelves full of them in fact, as well as bound volumes of magazines and newspapers, although you notice that none of them are particularly recent. The books are varied in nature: history, geography, politics, political economy, botany, geology, law, but all relate to England and English life. Do you want to continue to examine the English books contained within the Count's library, or would you prefer to look for something pertaining to the region of Transylvania and its customs?
Should we look at the...
We already know about English stuff.
Yeah, let's look at the Transylvania.
Yeah, maybe there's some lore about Vlad the Impaler and Dracula. I read a good book called Anna Dracula, where Dracula defeats the main characters from the original book and then marries Queen Victoria.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wow, and she doesn't know he's a vampire and he just takes over.
You eventually find what you're looking for, a book dating from the 18th century about the peoples of the Carpathians, written in German. Poring over it, you're able to translate certain passages, and one about something called the Strigoi. intrigues you in particular? According to the tome, Strigoi are troubled spirits that are said to have risen from the grave, sometimes in order to take revenge for some crime perpetrated against them in life, and sometimes at the behest of a demonic sorcerer. While you are studying the book, the door opens, making you start. The Count enters and you instinctively slam the book shut in surprise. Tick off the code word Strigoi and turn to 614.
Strigoi, that's what the vampires are called in the stream. Yeah, The Witcher as well.
Oh.
614. I'm glad you found your way in here, for I am sure there is much that will interest you. These companions. Is this right? At this, he lays his hand on some of the books. Have you been good friends to me and for some years past, ever since I had the idea of going to London, have given me many, many hours of pleasure. Through them, I have come to know your great England and know her is to love her. I long to go through the crowded streets of your mighty London, to be in the midst of the whirl and rush of humanity.
He's such a romantic, isn't he?
I know. But alas, as yet, I only know your tongue through books. Not just so far.
Yeah, have you had intercourse?
To you, my friend, I look that I know how to speak it. You shall, I trust, rest here with me a while, so that by our talking I may learn the English intonation. You accede to the Count's entreaty, and in return ask if you might use the library whenever you choose. 533.
All these big words.
I know,
We're like the worst couple that could do book reading streams.
It's not, if you were just reading it, it wouldn't be a problem. But when you're like trying to read it to a camera,
You may go anywhere you wish within the castle, except where the doors are locked. Where, of course, you will not wish to go, the Count says gravely. There is a reason that all things are as they are. We are in Transylvania, and Transylvania is not England. Our ways are not your ways, and there shall be to you many strange things. From what you've told me of your experiences already, you know something of what strange things there may be. If you have the code word Langok ticked off, which we don't,
think so.
turn to 553. If not, turn to 654.
Come, the Count says, tell me of London and all the houses you have procured for me there. And so you pour over the plans, deeds, and other paperwork you brought with you, all the way from Exeter, concerning the Count's new properties in Piccadilly, Walworth, and Mile End in the Jewel in the Crown, his own English estate. The estate is called Carfax, you explain. It contains some 20 acres in all and is surrounded by a high stone wall. There are many trees which make it gloomy in places, and there is a small lake fed by subterranean springs, the water flowing away in fair-sized stream. The house itself is very large and of all periods and dates back to medieval times. One part is of immensely thick stone, with only a few windows high up and heavily barred with iron. It looks like part of the keep and is close to an old chapel. You set up the portable lithograph projector you have carried with you all the way from England, and much to the Count's delight, project views of the house onto the bare stone wall, which you took with your Kodak from the cardinal points of the compass. There are a few other properties close at hand. You go on. One being a very large house only recently converted into a private lunatic asylum. I should point out, however, that the asylum is not visible from the grounds. I am glad this Carfax is old and big, the Count says. When you are finished, I myself am of an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. I rejoice, although, that there is a chapel of old times. We Transylvanian nobles love not to think that our bones may lie amongst the common dead. Moreover, I love the shade and the shadow. I would be alone with my thoughts when I may. Perhaps it is the light cast by the flickering lamps in the room, but he smiles. His smile seems to you malignant and somehow saturine. After Count Dracula has put his signature on the necessary legal documents, he makes his excuse and leaves. You pull together your papers and write a letter to accompany them, finally preparing everything to post to Mr. Hawkins back in Exeter. As you're putting your papers together, you notice an atlas lying on the table. If you'd like to take a look at the atlas, turn to 684. If not, turn to 713. Should we look at
Might
it?
as well.
Yeah, why not?
We probably get a terror point, but
We might get code word.
it's 8-4. The book falls open naturally at a map of England, as if that page has been much studied. Looking at it, you find in certain places little rings that have been marked, and on closer inspection you notice that one lies near to Purfleet, to the east of London, where the Count's new estate lies. The other two locations marked in this way are your hometown of Exeter and Whitby on the North Yorkshire coast. Tick off the code word Turkep and turn to 713. Turkep.
The door opens and Count Dracula returns unexpectedly. Still at your books, before you can reply, he says, "Come, I am informed that your supper is ready. An excellent meal awaits you in the next room, laid out on the table." The Count excuses himself, explaining that he has already dined out, regaining 2 endurance points.
Who's eating?
KFC, I think.
Like
The two of you talk late into the night until once you hear the cock crow and the Count jumps to his feet saying, Why there is morning again. How remiss I am to let you stay up so long." And with a courtly bow, he quickly leaves you. Turn to 743.
That's why he goes during the day, because he's sleeping.
Yeah, he's a vampire. I remember reading a book which Dracula was an immortal raid. What's that say? And vampirism turned
Is that a
people.
dinosaur?
That's what I thought.
Pterosaur?
And vampirism turned people into undead part predators.
Pterosaur.
And time travel was involved.
Wow, that sounds mental.
It sounds very unlike period piece Dracula. Did he go to the future? Did he do like Jason X? So it is part of dinosaur. I do.
Like a pterodactyl.
Wow.
You only sleep a few hours, and feeling that you cannot sleep any longer, you get up. You hang up your shaving glass by the window and are just beginning to shave when an inexplicable shiver passes through you, as if someone just stepped over your grave. Take an ESP test.
Ooh.
If you pass the test, turn to 804. So ESP, we roll 1 dice.
Was it?
Yeah, it's 1 for combat agility ESP and 2 for endurance and terror. No, it's 4. It's 4 for endurance and terror and 2 for everything else. So it's 2 dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to roll one?
No, because you've only got
So
7.
was ESP a you have to be higher than it or lower?
No, I think we have to be.
I would check because one of them is different. I think ESP might be higher.
Yeah, because you want it to be.
Yeah, you like the higher you roll, like the more signal you've got for the. What's ESP even stand for? I can't remember.
Electric Special.
Spectral powers.
Spectral. If it is your agility, combat, or ESP that's been tested, roll 2 dice. If the total rolled is equal to or less than the attribute, you've passed the test.
Okay, so we need to be less than.
Less than 7.
Oh, terror is more. I think.
Yeah.
Let's make the roll.
Yay!
Yeah, we did it. They all started off in the future and went backwards, I think. It's been a while since I read it. I remember that the horses tried to kill vampires before they caused trouble.
The hero is not the horses.
The heroes tried to kill them before they caused trouble. Setting off a nuke.
Horses.
Jesus. Extrasensory perception.
Oh,
instinct.
nice. We were nearly there.
Electrical spectral powers.
Wait. If you pass the test into 804. Extra sensory perception.
I'm trying to read this story with dinosaur vampires and people dropping nukes. Horses fighting Dracula. You turn to see the Count enter your chamber. "Good morning," he says, bowing courteously. Turning back to your shaving mirror, you see the whole room displayed behind you, but there is no sign of anyone in it other than yourself. The Count is close to you, just over your shoulder, but there is no reflection of him in the mirror. Add 1 point to your terror score and tick off the code word Tukor.
How do you spell it?
Tukor.
Can you use it in a sentence?
No. Tukor.
Yeah.
Seeing your horrified reaction, the Count hisses and seizes the shaving glass. This is the wretched thing that has done the mischief. It is a foul bauble of man's vanity.
Away with it.
954.
954. Did you add a terror point?
Doing it.
Gonna do it anyway.
That's like Ross Kemp saying SAS Super Army Soldiers. Did he actually say that?
Opening the window with one wretch of his terrible hand, your host flings the mirror out of it. You hear the glass smash into 1,000 pieces on the stones of the courtyard below.
How big is the shaving mirror? 1,000 pieces.
Might be.
It's big.
With that, the Count leaves again without uttering another word. When you go into the dining room, the Count is not there. He is not out on the stairs either, but having ventured beyond the suite of rooms, you decide to explore further. So you've gone off in like a mad. You soon stumble upon a room that faces towards the south. The view is magnificent, for the castle is on the very edge of a terrific precipice.
He's gone to make like a rubber mask of himself, like and hold in front of mirrors.
But then you just have like a floating head. A stone falling from the window would fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. As far as the eye can see is a sea of green treetops, with occasionally a deep rift where there is a chasm. Here and there are silver threads where the rivers wind in deep gorges through the forest. Exploring further, you find doors everywhere, but all locked and bolted. Only the windows in the castle walls seem to offer you any available exit. The place is a veritable prison, and you are its prisoner. You find yourself thinking things that you dare not confess to your own soul, among them that you are the only living soul within Castle Dracula. One thing is certain, the Count is the one who has made you a prisoner, and he alone is master of the secrets of this place, so you must keep your knowledge and your fears to yourself, for you will need your wits about you if you are to come through the other side of this ordeal. You've hardly come to this conclusion when you hear the great door below shut, and suspect that the Count has returned. Hurriedly returning to your room, you are joined not long after by Count Dracula. In an effort to hide your suspicions, and with a mind to finding out all you can that might help you effect an escape from your prison, you engage him on the subject of Transylvanian history, which he warms to wonderfully. He speaks of battles in particular, striding about the room and acting out moments of pivotal action as if he had been present at them all, explaining that to boy like himself the pride of his house and name is his own pride.
Who must bounce
what you're doing in the
on it?
Their glory is his glory,
Crazy
and their fate his
style.
fate. And we Selkies have a right to be proud, he exclaims, for in our veins flows the blood of many brave races who fought for lordship of these lands. Is it a wonder that we were conquering a race when in our veins runs the blood of Attila the Great? That when the Magyar, the Lombard, the Avar, the Bulgar, or the Turk poured in their thousands upon our borders, we drove them back. And when shame fell upon my nation, when the flags of Wallach and the Magyar were trampled beneath the crescent, who was it but one of our own race who, as voivode, crossed the Danube and beat the Turk on his own ground? Mr. Harker, the Selkies and the Draculas as their heart's blood, their brains and their swords can boast a record that upstart mushroom growths such as the Habsburgs and the Romanovs can never reach. What's going on in here? But those warlike days are over, and blood is too precious a thing in these days.
Jonathan snores in the background.
Dishonourable peace, and the glories of the great races are now just a tale that is told. The Count turns his gaze to the great crest in the shape of an ornamental shield, bearing the bas-relief of a mighty dragon, its wings and tail curled about it, carved into the stonework above the mantelpiece. If you want to ask him about the significance of the crest, turn to 831.
Yeah,
Should we
let's
do
hear
it?
him.
Because that's the coolest thing in this room.
Yeah.
And you would ask it.
The dragon.
It's the insignia of the Order of the Dragon. The host explains a noble, chivalric brotherhood of knights whose initiates vow to defend the cross and fight the enemies of Christianity, the Turks of the Ottoman, the Empire in particular. Take off the cold word Sarkany.
Balcony.
Then turn to 861. But enough of the past, says the Count. Let's focus on our thoughts on the future prosperity and the preparations for my forthcoming journey to English shores. I wish you to write to our mutual friend, Miss Hawkins, he says.
Mr. Hawkins.
Mr. Hawkins, he says, laying a heavy hand on your shoulder, and to any other you wish, saying that you shall stay with me until a month from now. Do you wish me to stay so long, you ask, and your heart grows cold at the thought? I desire it very much. You will rest here with me a while so that I may learn more of your English ways. Will you acquiesce to the Count's wishes?
Acquiesce, is that it?
Acquiesce to the Count's wishes, turn to 801. Will you tell him that you have business in England that will not wait another month, turn to
Don't be
989.
rude. We know he's going to make us stay anyway.
Well, it did tell us about wits and, like, be cautious, I guess, but that would also be cautious for us to try and get out of it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get
Good
out of it.
bit of European history.
Should we just acquiesce with him?
Yes.
801.
We're getting free food.
In the 92 movie, we're probably about 10 minutes in now, but we're in the book, we're about 3 hours.
What can you do but agree? I pray you will not discourse of things other than business in your letters, the Count says, handing you 3 sheets of notepaper and 3 envelopes. It will please your friends to know that you are well and that you look forward to getting home to them, is it not so? He smiles, then his sharp canine teeth lying over the red underlip, and you vow to yourself that you will be careful with what you write, for your host will be able to read the letters before sending them. You write 2 letters, one to your employer, Mr. Hawkins, and one to your beloved fiancée, Mina. The Count himself composes several notes, one directed to Samuel F. Billington of Whitby. Samuel Jackson of Whitby. Is that where he writes? Another to
Fish and chips, mother.
Another to Lautner of the Bulgarian port of Varna. A third to Coutts and Co., the London bankers, and the 4th to Heron Klopstock and Bilruth bankers of Budapest. Adding the missives you have penned to his pile, the Count rises and says, I trust you will forgive me, but I have much work to do in private this evening. You will, I hope, find all the things you wish. At the door he stops and turns. Let me warn you, my young friend, that should you leave these rooms, you will not fall asleep in any other part of the castle. It is old and has many memories, and there are bad dreams for those who sleep unwisely. And then he's gone, leaving you wondering whether any dream could be more terrible than the unnatural net of gloom and mystery which you feel closing around you. Turn to 172. At least we didn't get a terror point.
Yeah.
Despite learning that we're staying here for another month, that would be like 10 terror points.
Can we not just stay in our room all day? Not going
Yeah,
around?
could have taken the Switch with us or something.
Yeah.
Take a Steam Deck.
You have a USB charger in the corner. Wi-Fi password. Air fryer is very good.
You feel that your near nocturnal existence is taking a toll on you. It is destroying your nerve. It has you starting every shadow, and your mind is full of all sorts of horrible imaginings. God knows that there are grounds for your overwhelming sense of dread in this accursed place. Suddenly, desiring a breath of fresh air, you throw open the window and fill your lungs with the cold night air. You look out over the beautiful expanse of this region of the Carpathian Mountains. Everything is bathed in a soft yellow moonlight that seems to cause the distant hills to melt into obscurity, and the shadows in the valleys and gorges are of velvety darkness. But as you lean from the window, something catches your eye, something that is moving story below your position. Drawing back from the weather-worn stonework, you peer out warily. What you glimpse is the Count's head coming out from the window, but in revulsion and terror, threaten to overwhelm you when you see the man slowly emerge from the window or begin to crawl down the castle wall, head first over the dreadful abyss, with his cloak spreading out like around him like great wings. Take a terror test. If you pass the test, turn to 225. So I'm just going to show you the picture first because it's pretty awesome. So he's where's the camera? He's like climbing down the building there.
That's the book cover.
Oh yeah, the one on the page. Yeah.
In those days, it would have been a steam-powered deck. That's a good one.
Good one. Take a terror test. So that is 2 dice.
4 dice.
And we have to do better than it.
Yes, we have to get higher. It has to be above our terror
Yeah,
score.
because we want a low terror score, don't we?
Yes.
So we'll roll these 4.
Yes. Yay! That's good.
Spider-Man's secret identity. Well, to be fair, he does look like Morbius in the picture. If you pass the test, turn to 225.
Yeah, I would be jumping out that window. Oh, look at us there. What manner of man is this Count Dracula, or what manner of creature in the semblance of a man? At that moment you determine to do all you can to escape or die trying. You're convinced the Count has left the castle now and decide to use the opportunity to explore more than you have dared to do as yet. Taking up a lamp, you descend the stone stairs to the hall. Although you find you can pull back the bolts easily enough and unhook the great chains, the great door is locked and the key is gone. It must be in the Count's possession. So instead you set upon a thorough examination of the various stairs and passages that interlace the gloomy castle and try all the doors that open from them. 1 or 2 small rooms near the hall are open, but there is nothing to see in them except old furniture, dusty with age and moth-eaten. At last, however, you find a door at the top of the stairway, which, though it appears locked, gives under a little pressure. You've entered a wing of the castle further to the right than the rooms you know, and a story lower down its tall windows overlooking the great precipice. The castle is built on the corner of a great rock, so that on 3 sides it is quite impregnable. Great windows were placed here during its construction, where sling or bow or culverin could not reach. To the west is a great valley, and ascending in the distance, great jagged mountain fastnesses. Rising peak on peak, the sheer rock, studded with mountain ash and thorn, whose roots cling to cracks and crevices in the stone. Exploring the portion of the castle, you come to a bend in the passage you're following. There is an iron-studded oak door to your left, in the south-facing wall, a chill wind blowing through the cracks between the planks. To your right, the passage continues to a suite of rooms at its end. Do you want to try the door to your left, or will you keep following the passageway to the right? So,
Yes, let's do it.
check the door to the left.
Yeah. 248. The door has become warped by time, and the old wood is now swollen within its stone aperture. If you want to try and force the drafty door open, turn to 337. If not, turn to 308. Was the other one 308 already?
I don't know.
Let's
What
try
page are
and-
we on now?
248. Let's try and break it open.
Yeah.
337.
Woo! Here we go. What's gonna be behind it? Cilla Black.
3 Dracula's brides waiting for his dry.
Taking a few steps back, mustering all your strength, you charge at the door. With your shoulders square on the iron-studded oak. Take an endurance test. If you pass the test, turn to 399.
So that's 4 dice,
Oh,
isn't it?
no, 2 dice.
2 dice.
Oh no, endurance is 4.
4, and we need to get lower. Equal or lower, right?
Yeah.
10. Oh! 15. 21.
That's so unlucky, but yes, we just passed it.
399.
Oh no, we wouldn't have died.
We probably just wouldn't have got in the room. Or got in and lost some stamina points. Artwork is really cool in this book, by the way. You make contact with the door and it bangs open to reveal a yawning gulf beyond. Wherever the door led once upon a time, tumbled into the abyss a long time ago as the castle fell to ruin over the course of the unforgiving centuries.
That could have been bad.
Well, it's not over yet. Take an agility test. If you pass the test, turn to 459.
Oh no.
No, agility...
2 dice.
2 dice.
Gotta get less than 9.
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh,
Do
close.
not knock my dice when I get
I'll
one.
try. If you pass the test, turn to 459.
To the abyss.
The abyss.
459.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. You manage to grab the door handle and stop yourself from plunging into the abyss. Pulling the door firmly shut again, you keep following the passageway instead. What's in the picture? 10 to 489. Oh, so now we are going down this.
Yeah, so that's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
wasn't
don't
it?
go there.
Yellow moonlight floods in through the diamond panes of the curtainless windows, softening the wealth of dust which covers everything, and disguises in some measure the ravages of time and moss. You are glad you brought the lamp with you, for there is a dread of loneliness about the place that chills your heart, and makes your nerves tremble. Add 1 to your terror score. Where am I? Descending a short flight of crumbling steps, you find yourself at an octagonal chamber not unlike the one that separates your bedroom, dining room in your apartment. 2 doors lead off to the left and right, while ahead of you, another short flight of steps leads to what appears to be an opulent chamber, bed decked with silken drapes. That's going to be the room, isn't it?
Yeah.
The door to your left is adorned with a pair of ancient curved swords, their blades pitted and tarnished by time. The door to your right bears the same dragon crest and is carved into the chimney breast above the fireplace in your dining room. Do you want to try the door on your left, try the door on the right, ignore both doors and descend the steps to the opulent chamber? So,
Should we try the dragon crest?
yeah. So that is... The door to your right bears the same dragon crest. Yeah, maybe we'll get like a sword or something. Try the door to your right, 529.
529. Let me make a note. What are the other page numbers?
So 529 is to the right, which is the dragon
Yeah.
crest, and left is 672.
Which is the swords.
Yes,
And stairs to the chamber.
59.
Okay, so we're going to go to 529.
Mm-hmm.
The door opens and you enter another gloom-haunted room. Ancient, moth-eaten war banners and pennants hang from the high walls of the chamber, while picked out in the light cast by your lamp you see a dust-shrouded suit of armour. It's something of the dragon about it, the mail reminding you of scales, while the faceplate of the helm projects as with a reptilian snout. You wonder which of the Count's ancestors last wore it into battle. Perhaps it was the imperious figure who peers down from you from a canvas on the wall behind the suit of armour, among the motionless flags. The armour has been posed as if it was still occupied, arms crossed in front of the breastplate and gauntlets together resting on the hilt of a magnificent sword, the tip of which is balanced in a groove in the wooden plinth on which it stands.
This thing gonna come to life.
That's what I'm thinking. The blade does not appear to have suffered the unkind attentions of time, unlike the suit itself and the rest of the room's adornments, and you wonder how it would feel in your hand. If you want to take up the sword...
Yeah.
No! You idiot! Checkpoint. Turn to 559. If not, turn to 642. Checkpoint.
Go on then, checkpoint. First checkpoint.
At 529. Okay, so you want to...
Take it. You want to take this sword, turn to 559. Then you write it down as is that the checkpoint?
That's 529 is a checkpoint.
Oh, okay. 5.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Carefully unclasping the gauntlet fingers, you ease the sword from the place where it is rested, for God alone knows how long. Take an ESP test. If you pass the test, turn to 589.
ESP is 2.
I wonder if it gives you like a sort of flashback to like what happened with it or where it's
Maybe.
used. Or So this is 2 dice, and we have to get
Less than 7. Yeah, that counts.
7 or less.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe past turn 5, 8, 9.
Come on.
I'm gonna imagine we're gonna be picking up a sword here, so I'm gonna get the inventory ready.
No, I think it's gonna be bad either way.
Well, it's gonna keep us armed for the opulent room. I would.
Oh, you were completely right. The room suddenly starts to spin as your vision blurs, but in your mind's eye, you see another kind of vision altogether.
Nice. This is like lore dump.
You're caught up in the midst of battle. In the distance rise the ramparts of a mighty fortress town, but it's obscured by the smoke that rises from the battlefield. You see infantry soldiers and cavalrymen in dated armour bearing the standards of the Ottoman Empire, intent on breaching the defences of the town, but they're brought up short when the smoke clears, revealing a forest of the impaled, hundreds of men, women and children writhing in agony on stakes that have been rammed into the ground, row upon row of them as far as the eye can see.
Jesus, brutal.
And then the hordes of charging Turks and the forest of stakes impaled with prisoners of war are just figures in a mosaic that you now see covers the ceiling of the chamber, while you're lying on the floor staring up at it. Picking yourself up again, you study the mysterious blade, searching for an explanation of the strange visions that assailed you. Add 1 point to your ESP score and turn to 616.
So do we get the sword?
No.
Oh.
I don't think we'll need a sword.
Depends what we're fighting.
Oh, yeah.
So ESP is now 8, which is good.
Oh, maybe we will get it.
Do you want to read the next one in case we pick up the sword, then I can put it in?
Yeah. 616. Oh, I think we do. The great sword is a a magnificent example of the metallurgist's art. The quillions of its crossguards have been fashioned in the shape of stylized dragon heads, the eye sockets set with exquisitely cut rubies.
Nice.
Engraved into the blade itself is an ornamental script in what you take to be the name of its maker. The name its maker gave it. Efil et si dulb et.
Well, if you look at that backwards, clearly.
The blood is the life. As long as you're wielding the blade in battle, you may add 2 points when calculating your combat rating. So we're technically like 9 plus 2.
Right, yeah, so we'll have 9 plus 2, so we're not going to add that, we're just going to... Or should we just put the combat up to 11 and
Yeah.
we'll figure it out?
Yeah, do
Okay.
that. If you wound an opponent in it, you may subtract 1 additional point of damage, so you can take 3 every time.
Nice, that's good.
Record the dragon sword on your adventure sheet,
Yes.
noting that you can only carry 1 bladed weapon at a time, and then turn to 642. This has got to be like the best weapon in the game. That is a very powerful upgrade.
Yeah, peak. So we get what? We get 3 damage.
So we get
So
11
nice.
combat, and we can take an extra.
So anyone who's on even, on an odd score, we get to do it in a less, like 1 less round.
Well, we're gonna not do that whole odd even thing anyway. Are we?
Yeah, but if there's someone who's got 3 HP.
Oh,
we
I
can kill
see
them.
what you mean.
Okay.
Yes. 642. So I'm going to make a note that there was a good
Yeah,
sword
do it.
here.
Leaving the room again, do you want to try the door opposite you? The one bearing the twin Janissary sabres. If you haven't already done so, turn to 672. Or do you want to descend the steps to the next chamber? I mean, we kind of want to find out what's in there.
Let's try it.
Yeah, so
Do you want to
turn-
check what... No.
we could. Well, we've got the old checkpoint. If we need to go back, we'll just skip picking up the sword and
Yeah,
we'll just
okay.
get it. So 672. It's probably going to be a fight, but at least we've got the sword now. If it is a fight.
I'm glad it wasn't that page. It was such a long section.
I saw that.
The door is unlocked, and opening it, you step into a room shrouded in darkness. You raise your lamp above your head, and its welcome light is reflected back from 1,000 captured treasures. The room is full of trophies recovered from battlefields, hundreds of years ago. I can't see him leaving this room unlocked.
Well, it's probably
Unless
just all...
it's traps.
Hmm.
They are mostly the arms and armour of Janissaries, like the crossed swords secured to the door. The elite infantry of the Ottoman Turks that Count Dracula told you invaded his ancestral lands centuries ago. They must have been taken as spoils of war by one of Dracula's ancestors. Well, as they say, to the victor the spoils. A number of items in particular pique your interest. A band arrangement of swords, an open box of the kind of apothecaries used to carry with them, containing a number of glass bottles, a large chest that has its lid closed, an ornate flask supported upon a brass stand. What do you want to do?
Oh, God.
Are you ready for these options?
Yeah.
Will you take a closer look at the swords?
Mm-hmm.
Take a closer look at the apothecary's box?
Mm-hmm.
Take a closer look at the large chest?
Mm-hmm.
Take a closer look at the flask in the brass stand?
Mm-hmm.
Or leave the room?
Well, we don't need to look at the swords because
No.
we got an OP sword. The chest sounds like a trap, Form says, but
It does.
we don't know what's inside.
But yeah,
Maybe there's like someone who they've turned into a vampire in there.
I wonder what's in the flask in the brass stand.
Maybe it refills our flask if we've used it, but because we've not used it, it could also be pointless. We have made a checkpoint, so
We haven't, no. 672. Right, we're checkpointing.
yeah.
672. What do you guys do?
Maybe
Should we get the
apothecary.
chest out of the way? Oh, the apothecary's box.
If the chest is a battle, let's not do it.
Yeah.
So let's look in the chest first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
89. I bet it's filled with like soil or something. Finding the strong box unlocked, as you lift the heavy lid, the light from your lamp is reflected back at you from what looks like a king's ransom of silver coins. You cannot help but gasp and wonder how much ancient wealth is hidden away in the Count's castle. Picking up one of the coins, you scrutinise it more closely. One side is covered with Arabic calligraphic script, but on the other side is the face of a bearded hawk-nosed sultan who's with a turban on his head. Around the edge of the image, what appears to be the name Sultani Mehmed II. If you want to fill your pockets with antique coins, turn to 859. If you'd rather leave the treasure chest untouched.
Leave it.
Maybe we'll drop one out of our pocket and get caught or something. So let's leave it.
You wouldn't take them anyway. You just.
No. So it looks like you can only do one thing.
Oh no!
Well, happens when you open the chest. So let's see what happens when you open. Should we check out the brass stand?
Yeah, I wanna. That's if I had to pick one, I'd look at the flask and the brass. Oh, that silver might be useful.
Oh, that is true. The chest is too good to be true. Might possibly be.
Yes.
Holding your lamp close to the crystal phial, you marvel at the intricate filigree that holds it in its lattice of silver. It appears to be filled with black smoke, shot through the glittering particles which shifts and swirls as you look at it. If you want to pull the stopper from the phial, turn to 731. If you'd rather leave the stopper firmly in place, choosing something you haven't already tried.
Hey, board game bud.
Hey, how you doing? I mean, it's probably an enemy, isn't it?
We're gonna go and try another thing anyway. So should we just
Yeah.
pull the stopper and see what happens?
Yeah.
It's definitely bad.
It's probably going to be an enemy. You pull the stopper from the flask. There's a great rushing of air as the wind outside has some way found a way to penetrate the castle, and the room is plunged into darkness. At first, you think the wind has extinguished your lamp, but then the gloom clears again, and yet, in a brief moment of total darkness, you can't shake the feeling that you saw something like a pair of glittering golden eyes peering at you from within a cloud of black smoke, as if the darkness was in fact a tangible thing. Add 1.2, so it's
Let's
basically
not
just give
do
you a character
that.
point. So yeah, we're not doing that.
Ah.
So the apocryphy box, which would have been my option,
Okay.
769.
I think what Thorn said is.
The silver.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Did it say they were made from silver? Yeah,
Yeah.
it did, didn't it?
Well, he's got a box of them in his rooms if he's that scared of silver.
No, he's hidden them away in this room.
Does it even work? Does it need to be a silver cross?
You can melt them down though.
Oh, true. The bottle stored in the box contained a dry residue of a dozen fleet trees, potions, elixirs, and sleeping draughts. But there is one that is still liquid. It is clear and colourless, and you discover when you remove the ground glass bung and give it a sniff. Odorless. If you want to drink the potion,
Oh, let's see what happens.
we're gonna do it. Here we are.
We're gonna do it anyway.
And this should work.
Where's his beautiful face?
Okay, maybe not. It's put bats up instead. It's quite beautiful, actually, isn't it? I hope that goes away. I shouldn't be putting bats on. It's Barry, not bats.
I love how you've got so many sources. It's just like
I've got about
Barry.
500. Where is Barry?
There.
Right, okay, let's try that one again, just in case.
We're gonna do
Yeah.
it anyway. We're gonna do it
799.
We're gonna do it
The time-proven tactic of drinking random unlabeled liquids.
You take a cautious sip. When the liquid fails to burn your lips and tongue, you down the contents of the bottle. Almost immediately you feel a welcome calm spread throughout your body. You feel the tension ease from your muscles, and there is peace and comfort in every breath you take. At the same time, you feel a befuddling cloud has lifted from your mind, and your senses becoming sharper. Deduct 1 point from your terror score and add 1 to your combat score.
Yes, there you go.
Can
We
you-
can't add one to our combat because it doesn't say even if it exceeds enough.
Okay, should we just do that then? And then leave the room?
Oh, should we add it?
No.
No. Okay.
Do that and leave the room?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
890.
no, we're
What?
gonna leave that and open the chest and take some silver. Aren't we?
Yes, okay, you go through with that then.
Or do you not want to do that?
I think we're not going to kill Dracula.
That's very
Well-
negative.
Well, there's probably other things in this castle that we could use it on. So let's just do it. And
Or do you? If you got a bad feeling, we won't.
no, the only bad thing that I had was if like we're filling our pockets with it, we might drop one and like our heroes. But then it'd just be a battle anyway. So let's just do it and take it. So I'm taking our terror down.
Yeah. That's why you should drink liquids you come across.
Yeah, clear, odorless liquid.
Yes. So we're gonna. Do you want to look at the swords or not bother? Not bother. We've got a good sword, haven't we?
Yeah, that's not bad.
I'm just gonna see what it says when we fill our pockets with the coins. You fill your pockets with coins until you can carry no more. Add the antique coins to your adventure sheet and turn to 890.
Antique coins.
So nothing bad's happened, yeah. You slowly become aware of a whispering sound. Oh,
Well, this wasn't part of. This is only from picking the silver up, isn't it? Is this when you go down the stairs? What's this?
no, this is just...
Read it out first before I
Taken-
put it in on the phone.
You slowly become aware of a whispering sound within the room. At first, you think it must be a breeze blowing under the door or through a crack in the wall, but as you listen more intently, you become convinced you can hear words within the susurration. Curiosity getting the better of you, you close in on the source of the sound until you're standing before a table upon which rests a silver stand. Something is clearly resting on the stand, but a dusty silken cloth has been draped over it. If you want to remove the cloth, turn to 949.
You might as well do it.
If not, turn to 919. Ah, this is why you don't steal.
Pulling the cloth free, you immediately take a step back, giving your revulsion a voice as you find yourself face to face with what appears to be a mummified head. The wrinkled grey-green flesh is as dry as a desert tomb, and the eyes have dried up and turned to dust long ago. The straggly hairs of a beard still cover the sunken hollows of its cheeks and the bony point of its chin, while the top of the head is covered by an
Oh,
ancient
it's the
turban.
man.
Yeah. And then you hear the whispering again and realise it is issuing from beyond the dead man's dried up lips. Take a terror test.
Oh no.
So at least we just got a what's it called? We just lost one. So
Yeah, so you've got to get...
it's only 2 dice in it.
No, terror is 4. But you
And we have to get higher
more
than
than
9.
9, yeah.
Oh, that's not so bad. 7.
Yay!
Yay. Okay, we passed.
$99. This still might be a going back on ourselves.
Hopefully it's a good thing and he's against Dracula. He might give us some good info.
Hey, take my soup. Stake him in the hot.
Your heart pounding inside your chest, you nonetheless stand your ground and listen intently to the head's whispering utterances. Whilst your ears hear the guttural desert tongue of Arabia, inside your head you hear the words spoken in the Queen's English. Beware, for the accursed lord of this place is a ghoul, a demon, who drinks the blood of the living to sustain his own life after death. You've heard enough, your pulse pounding in your ears, you back out of the room, closing the door firmly behind you. You wonder what other impossible secrets the castle hides within its walls. Add 1 point to your terror score, deduct 1 blood point, and then turn to 59.
So blood points is Dracula's power, essentially. You start with 0, so we're not gaining any because we're already on 0. So I'm guessing by us gaining this knowledge this early, it means that
He's weakened a little bit.
weaken because we know what we're dealing with.
So do you want me to start a blood point thing, and I'll just put -1?
Yeah, so apparently I think there is like a ranking system for Dracula. If you're playing as Dracula, the more blood points you have, the more powerful you are. The more blood points Dracula has as Jonathan Harker and the Hunters means he is more powerful, so we want to keep that as low as possible.
To be fair, adding 1 terror point and the antique coins is probably worth doing this.
Yeah, so let's just see. Yeah, so we have got the antique coins.
Yeah. $59.
What's 59?
Where we're going?
Where did it tell us to go?
Just says then turn to 59. Would still be bad.
Okay, we're going to leave it here then.
No!
Because this is us heading into the opulent chamber, so I think this is probably a good time to end part 2. We have our sword. We have some information on Dracula, which has dropped down his blood point if we had one already. Our fear is creeping back up to 10 again, so it's we're pretty scared at this point. Endurance is high, which is good, and I feel like we've made good progress. We've had some exploration around the castle, and it's given us a lot more options of like moving around different rooms, and it feels more like we're in a fighting fantasy style book now. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I'm still having a good time. You having a good time with this one?
Yes, I really like
These
this
got some
one.
really good atmosphere in this one, and yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the next one, because I'm gonna guess what's in that opulent chamber.
The ladies.
Yeah, so we're gonna be potentially having a fight.
A good old time. Oh.
Well, both of
fight.
those things. Yeah, so that's going to be it for part 2. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let us know down in the comments section. If this is your first time checking it out, do subscribe as well, and we'll be back again with part 3 very soon.